The battle between heroes and gods has always been a fascinating and profound theme in mythology, reflecting a tension that we have all felt at some point. When I look at the stories that make up this universe, I realize that they go far beyond simple narratives. They speak about the human condition and the internal conflicts we face. On one side, we have the heroes, who represent the best in us: courage, determination, and the search for a purpose. On the other, the gods, who symbolize absolute power, infinite wisdom, but also the arbitrariness and fragility of life. This central conflict is a mirror of the struggle we face daily. Sometimes, we feel like heroes facing insurmountable challenges, while other times, we realize the strength of the greater forces that surround us, such as life's circumstances or society's expectations. Mythology teaches us that this battle is inevitable and necessary. Without challenges, there would be no growth. Without the gods, there would be no standard to be achieved. The stories of these confrontations often revolve around the idea that the gods, despite their power, are far removed from human emotions and weaknesses. They can be benevolent or cruel, but in a way they are indifferent to the struggles of mortals. What does this show us? That life is a constant search for balance between what is within our reach and what is beyond it. It is an invitation to reflect on how we react to adversity and how, on our journey, we can become the true protagonists of our stories. Throughout history, heroes such as Hercules and Achilles have become symbols of resistance and bravery. However, it is essential to remember that they were not invincible. Their victories were often accompanied by sacrifices and losses. When we face our own challenges, it is common for us to feel alone, just as these heroes did in their battles. However, it is important to recognize that even the greatest warriors had their weaknesses and moments of doubt. On the other hand, gods often represent not only strength but also the whims of fate. They can change their moods, benevolent or punishing, reflecting the uncertainty of life. This duality teaches us that as we strive to achieve our goals, we must be prepared to face the unexpected. So what can we do to prepare ourselves for these battles? The answer may lie in acceptance and resilience. Accepting that life is full of ups and downs helps us to stand firm, even when the storms come. In addition, mythology offers us a rich source of teachings about human nature. The conflicts between heroes and gods show us that each of us can have a little bit of the divine and a little bit of the human within us. This mix is what makes us whole. By reflecting on these stories, we can find inspiration to face our own battles, knowing that no matter how challenging they may be, there is always a lesson to be learned. In the end, true victory may not lie in overcoming the gods, but in finding the heroism within ourselves. Heroes in mythology are fascinating figures who capture the imagination of many. Characters like Hercules and Achilles are not just characters from ancient stories, but symbolize universal values and challenges that still resonate in our lives. Throughout their journeys, these heroes face not only physical adversaries, but also moral and ethical dilemmas that reflect our own inner struggles. Hercules, known for his extraordinary strength, is perhaps one of the most iconic heroes in Greek mythology. He is not only a symbol of power, but also of perseverance. His story begins with a preordained destiny as the son of Zeus and a mortal woman, which already places him in a position of tension between the human and the divine. Hercules' 12 labors are a testament to his courage and determination. Each task he undertakes, from capturing the Nemean lion to bringing back the apples of the Hesperides, represents not only a physical challenge, but also a journey of personal growth. By following Hercules' adventures, we can reflect on our own struggles and the ways in which we face obstacles in our lives. On the other hand, Achilles is another hero who deserves to be highlighted. He is known for his skill in battle and for his near invulnerability, except for his heel. The story of Achilles, especially in the Trojan War, teaches us about honor, bravery, and the consequences of pride. His anger and decisions have repercussions that go beyond his own life, affecting everyone around him. Achilles represents the internal struggle between the desire for glory and the obligation to others. By reflecting on his story, we are invited to consider how our own choices shape not only our destiny, but also that of those we love. It is interesting to note that these heroes, despite their extraordinary abilities, are deeply human in their flaws and insecurities. They struggle with doubts, fears, and regrets, which makes them relatable to any of us. This connection to humanity is perhaps what makes their stories so powerful and timeless. Each of us can see ourselves in their struggles, whether it's seeking recognition, battling our inner demons, or searching for a greater purpose. Furthermore, the relationship between heroes and gods is marked by a play of power and influence. While heroes are often seen as defenders of humanity, gods, with their complex and capricious personalities, represent forces that can either help or hinder. This dynamic is fascinating, as it illustrates the idea that in our own lives, we often come up against forces beyond our control as we strive to achieve our goals. Therefore, by exploring the stories of Hercules and Achilles, we are reminded that the hero's journey is more than just a fight against adversity. It is a journey of self-discovery and transformation. These heroes are not just figures from the past, but embodiments of values and challenges that we continue to face in our own lives. What can we learn from them? How can their stories inspire us to face our daily struggles with greater courage and determination? These are questions that each of us must consider as we navigate the complexities of life. When we talk about the gods of mythology, we are immediately faced with majestic and often fearsome figures. Gods like Zeus and Poseidon are perfect examples of this supernatural power that both fascinates and frightens. Zeus, the king of the gods, is not only the ruler of Olympus, he is a symbol of control and absolute authority. With his thunderbolt, he can bring both storm and clarity, a duality that represents life itself. When I think about how these gods were portrayed, I am reminded that they were not just distant figures, but rather entities that reflected the fears and hopes of humans. Poseidon, on the other hand, is the god of the seas and earthquakes. Imagine the power he exerts over the waters, capable of calming or stirring the ocean. The battles he fought with other gods and heroes show not only his strength, but also his complexity. He is not merely a punishing god, he is also a protector of sailors and fishermen. This leads us to reflect on how the gods, despite their supernatural abilities, carry within themselves the human essence, with its conflicts, passions, and contradictions. These entities are not just characters from ancient stories, but representations of forces that still permeate our lives. The power they exert over nature and the destiny of humans makes us question, to what extent are we controlled by external forces? The gods, with their supernatural abilities, symbolize this constant struggle between human freedom and the limitations imposed by greater forces. Throughout history, many of us have felt like heroes facing titans, haven't we? In addition, the representations of the gods also offer us a reflection on morality. They are not infallible, and their decisions often have consequences that reverberate throughout the lives of mortals. Zeus's pride, for example, can lead to disasters, while Poseidon's wrath can cause devastating tsunamis. These actions make us think about the responsibility that comes with power and how the abuse of that power can result in tragedy. When observing these narratives, it is impossible not to make a connection with today's world, where leaders and authority figures also face similar dilemmas. Another interesting point is the relationship between gods and heroes. Often, gods become adversaries of heroes, testing their courage and determination. This dynamic is fascinating, as it reveals a truth about life. Even when we have divine support, we are challenged to fight our own battles. It is not uncommon that in moments of crisis, we feel abandoned or tested by forces that seem beyond our control. It is in this scenario that the figure of the hero facing powerful gods becomes a powerful metaphor for the human journey. In short, the powerful gods of mythology are not just mythical figures, but reflections of our own struggles and aspirations. They teach us that no matter how formidable the challenges, courage and determination always play a fundamental role in life's battles. I believe that by studying these stories, we can learn to deal with our own adversities, recognizing that, like heroes, we too have the ability to face the gods that stand in our way. The motivations of heroes in mythological narratives are complex and vary according to cultural context and needs. Cities of the society in which these myths were created. When we look at figures like Hercules or Achilles, we realize that their actions are not merely driven by strength or courage, but by a deep desire for recognition, redemption, and protection of their people. Each of these elements helps us understand not only the characters, but also ourselves and our own struggles. One of the most fascinating aspects of heroes' motivations is the quest for fame. In many cultures, glory was seen as a legacy that transcended life. Heroes like Achilles, for example, were driven by the idea that their achievements in battle would make them immortal in the collective memory of humanity. This quest for fame can be seen as a form of resistance to time and death. As I reflect on this, I can't help but think about how often we too desire to be recognized for our achievements and contributions, even if on a much smaller scale. Another relevant point is the search for redemption. Many heroes face past mistakes and seek, through their heroic actions, to correct these mistakes. This is the case of Hercules, who, after committing atrocities under the influence of the goddess Hera, embarks on a journey of 12 labors. Each of these challenges is an opportunity for him to redeem himself and show that he is more than his faults. This search for forgiveness and reconciliation resonates deeply with us, as we all face times when we need to deal with our own mistakes and seek to overcome them. In addition, the protection of the people is a central motivation for many heroes. They fight not only for themselves, but also for their communities and families. This characteristic is especially striking in figures like Odysseus, who faces countless adversities not only to return to Ithaca, but also to ensure the safety of his family and the stability of his kingdom. The idea that our actions have a direct impact on those we love is a universal truth that connects us to these mythological characters. It is interesting to note that, even in their most noble motivations, heroes face ethical and moral dilemmas. Sometimes, their decisions are unclear and can result in unexpected consequences. This duality between good and evil, between honor and shame, is something we all face in our lives. By considering what motivates a hero, we can reflect on our own decisions and the reasons behind them. Ultimately, the motivations of heroes in epic battles in mythology offer a window into the human condition. They invite us to explore questions of identity, worth, and the meaning of our actions. By reading these stories, we are challenged to look within ourselves and understand what truly drives us, whether in everyday life or in moments of great challenge. It is an opportunity to learn from the mistakes and successes of heroes and apply those lessons to our own journeys. Therefore, by reflecting on these myths, we connect with the essence of the human experience, recognizing that in many ways, we are all heroes in our own stories. Furthermore, the legacy of myths continues to influence many forms of art. Whether in literature, film, or the visual arts, stories of heroes and gods permeate our creations. Consider how many contemporary films, such as comic book adaptations, reimagine these conflicts. Superhero narratives, which often reflect the struggle between good and evil, are a modern extension of ancient myths. Thus, battles that once took place between gods and mortals now unfold on screen, resonating with new generations. This fascination with epic struggles also reveals something deep about us as a society. There is an intrinsic desire to understand and confront the forces that surround us, be they natural, social, or spiritual. When we watch a film that depicts a hero facing a villain, we are, in a way, reliving the stories of Hercules or Perseus. There is a yearning for justice, for overcoming, and for the hope that, even when faced with a powerful adversary, we can find the strength within ourselves to fight. Therefore, as we reflect on the legacy of myth, it is vital to recognize that these stories are not just in the past. They are alive within us. They encourage us to face our own challenges and seek a greater purpose. What these narratives teach us is that, just as heroes face the gods, we too have the ability to face our own battles and perhaps even conquer our inner divinity. In a world where many feel small in the face of the forces that surround them, the legacy of myth reminds us that we all have a hero within us, ready to fight for an ideal, for justice or for love.